the day Diddy's world flipped upside down. He finally got shipped off to Fort Dix, the very prison his legal team fought for. CBS News even dropped his intake photo, gray hair, drained eyes, and a face that screams exhaustion. Now, leaked footage is exposing what's really going down behind those walls. 5 a.m. wake-ups, endless laundry shifts for just 23 cents an hour, and cramped dorm life with 8 other inmates. This was the transfer that didn't just move him, it changed everything.
Sean Diddy Combs was transferred to the federal prison at Fort Dix, New Jersey yesterday, where he will start to serve the rest of his 50-month sentence.
After spending 13 long months locked up inside Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, Diddy had no choice but to watch his empire collapse right before his eyes. Since that shocking September 2024 arrest, he'd been waiting for this one thing, the transfer his legal team had been begging for. His attorney, Tenny Garagos, even wrote to the judge pushing for a facility that could help Diddy face his drug issues, giving more family visits and actually focus on rehabilitation. Fort Dix seemed perfect, just 75 miles south of New York City, way closer to family than that nightmare in Brooklyn ever was. MDC Brooklyn, as described by those who've been inside, was nothing short of horrible. Fort Dix, on the other hand, was supposed to be the upgrade, the biggest federal prison in the entire country. We're talking 4,100 male inmates in total, 3,900 in the main facility and another 200 at the satellite minimum security camp. But now, CBS News has something exclusive that's got everyone talking. Right after Diddy's arrival, his intake photo told a story his lawyers never wanted out. Gray hair spreading fast, eyes heavy with exhaustion, that dull prison uniform fitting him like a reminder that fame doesn't mean freedom. The reality hit hard. But here's the twist most people don't realize. Fort Dix doesn't even have traditional prison cells. Fort Dix runs like no other. The entire place is set up with open dorm-style housing, not private cells. The facility was once a set of military barracks, revamped back in 1992, but it still feels like something out of another era. Some dorms are tight, holding just 12 inmates, 6 bunk beds squeezed into every corner, while others are massive, open bays with up to 100 men packed together in one shared space. Imagine that, 100 men trying to survive, sleep, and stay sane in the same room. Publicist Judah Engelmeyer confirmed it. Diddy's living with 8 other inmates, no special treatment, no VIP privileges, just another face in the crowd. The same man who once had personal assistants fetching his water bottles is now stuck waiting in line for the bathroom. Every single morning at 5 a.m. sharp, the fluorescent lights blast through the dorms. There's no such thing as sleeping in. Inmates rush to throw on their uniforms, line up for the mandatory head count, and start the day whether they like it or not. By 6 a.m., it's time for breakfast, bland, mass-produced prison food that couldn't be further from his old luxury lifestyle. No private chef, no fancy spreads, just a tray of whatever's being served that morning, eaten shoulder to shoulder with everyone else. Complaints? They go nowhere. Most of the time, they're completely ignored. After breakfast, the grind kicks in. Work assignments begin, and everyone's buzzing about 2 spots in particular, the laundry room hustle and the chapel library gig.
Clip obtained by TMZ, the disgraced rapper could be seen taking off his blue jacket and scarf while chatting with another inmate at the prison's media library in the chapel. Combs was reportedly getting ready to begin his work shift, which consists of giving movies and religious materials to other inmates.
TMZ dropped the footage, and it's something no one expected to see. Diddy knee-deep in prison chores. He's caught sorting inmate uniforms, washing piles of linens, and working those heavy-duty industrial dryers packed with garments. Every federal inmate has to work, no way around it. And the irony? It's hitting hard for anyone who remembers him flexing in luxury designer brands and rocking $1,000 fits. One comment online nailed it.
Diddy once paid people to wash his sneakers. Now he's scrubbing floors for free.
But that's not all. CBS News revealed his second gig inside Fort Dix, working in the chapel library. There, he's distributing movies to other inmates and handling religious materials. And get this, it's actually considered one of the better jobs in the prison. It's calmer than the laundry chaos, definitely easier than kitchen duty, and it even comes with perks like a small air-conditioned office. His publicist tried spinning it, calling the position warm, respectful, and rewarding. They made it sound almost peaceful, but the truth, he's just doing what he's told. No choices, no say in anything. Work runs straight through to 4 p.m., with guards running head counts 5 or 6 times a day. That means constant interruptions, no real break, just a routine that grinds you down day after day until exhaustion takes over. When the evening hits, the little bit of freedom inmates get is limited. Some hit the prison yard, others play on the basketball courts or walk laps around the track. There's a TV room too, but it's got basic channels and zero internet access. Phone calls are tightly monitored, every word possibly recorded. And even those calls got Diddy in trouble. CBS News reported he violated prison rules after making a 3-way call on November 3rd. They said Diddy was on that call talking with his legal team about putting out a statement for the New York Times. But that one conversation cost him big. He got slapped with 90 days without phone or commissary privileges. His publicist rushed to clear things up, claiming the call wasn't started by Sean himself, saying it was actually his lawyers who initiated it, and that it should have been protected under attorney-client confidentiality. Still, the punishment stuck. But here's where things get strange. On November 12th, his release date quietly got pushed back. It moved from May 8th, 2028 to June 4th, 2028 with no explanation at all. Nobody knows why, and officials aren't saying a word. Meanwhile, life rolls on. Meals are served 3 times a day in the prison dining hall, but according to former inmates, the food is nothing short of rough. They say it's often expired, tasteless, and far from anything you'd call fresh or gourmet. No special diets either, unless you've got a medical note to back it up. Inmates joke that you learn fast to appreciate anything that doesn't taste like cardboard. At least there's the commissary, the one place where they can buy a few extras, snacks, hygiene supplies, basic clothes. But prices, sky high. Everything is marked up, and with just a $320 monthly limit from outside funds, everyone has to ration what they spend real quick. By 10 p.m., it's lights out. The dorms start to settle, but not really. 100 men packed into those open bays means noise all night. Snoring, whispers, random shouts. It's never truly quiet, never peaceful. And before you even blink, the next day starts at 5 a.m. all over again. Remember that publicist calling the place warm and respectful? Former inmates tell a completely different story. One man who spent 17 months there between 2019 and 2020 told reporters something chilling.
I was there a day and a half. This is not a jail. This is an insane asylum.
Joe Giudice from the Real Housewives in New Jersey knows Fort Dix all too well. He spent 41 months there and didn't hold back when talking about Diddy's future. He told reporters that everything depends on how he carries himself inside. If he stays low-key, respects the flow, and doesn't try to play the superstar role, he'll get by just fine. Then Joe dropped the real gem.
I've seen people get stabbed over an onion. You ain't in there with the most stable people.
They said the federal prison is low security, but Diddy's longtime lawyer, Mark Garagos, previously told Harvey on Two Angry Men podcast that Diddy will have a target on his back wherever he ends up.
He'd probably get a nice job and be able to function normally just like he was on the outside. Giudice didn't stop there. He said the nights inside Fort Dix have a whole different vibe. He claimed he'd wake up around 3 or 4 in the morning to hit the bathroom and see things that would make anyone's jaw drop. According to him, there were people doing things you'd never expect to see in a federal prison. And the wildest part, the guards would supposedly know all about it. He said they'd hear the showers running late at night, but just look the other way, pretending nothing was happening. Another former inmate backed it up, describing conditions that completely shatter any of that positive image people try to paint about the place.
There's one bathroom per floor with toilets and showers, and everything is broken. A lot of the food is expired. It's horrible. They don't care.
But here's where things get real interesting. Money still talks even behind bars. Giudice spilled that inmates with cash can pay for special hookups, getting their shoes shined, clothes tailored, even private chefs whipping up better meals than the standard prison slop. He said that's just how it is, like it's an open secret everyone inside already knows. Still, no matter what perks he might afford, it's nothing close to the luxury life he once had outside those prison walls. That world is long gone. Former inmate and prison reform advocate Tyler King said visits are treated like sacred moments, but they're heavily controlled and constantly monitored. Every second is watched, every movement counted.
You get one hug at the start, one at the end. Everything in between must be proper. Handhold too long, and your visit ends immediately.
Diddy's 7 kids have stayed loyal through it all, still posting birthday love and tributes for their dad on social media. Whether they've actually made the trip to Fort Dix yet, though, nobody knows for sure. The holidays inside bring a whole new kind of struggle. Former inmate Tyler King explained that sometimes a special meal shows up and sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on the day and who's in charge. This past Thanksgiving, Fort Dix's big feast was barely that. Inmates got a choice between deli meat sandwiches or plain peanut butter and jelly. Christmas lunch wasn't much better, with baked Cornish hen, a scoop of mashed potatoes, some fruit, and a simple dessert to top it off. Nothing even close to the over-the-top holiday spreads Diddy used to host in his mansion days. Still, his families kept their support strong. All 7 of his kids sent heartfelt birthday posts when he turned 56 in early November.
We love you. We miss you. Happy birthday to the best dad ever.
His twin daughters shared touching words online, but even with their love, the truth is harsh. They're living their lives and the world keeps spinning without them. Diddy's official release date now sits at June 4th, 2028, though with time off for good behavior, that could shrink to around 22 to 24 months, maybe even less if he lands a halfway house placement for the final stretch. His legal team isn't slowing down either. They filed an expedited appeal in November, with the hearing set for April 2026. He's got one of the strongest appellate teams money can buy, and sources say he's in good hands. But none of that changes the cold reality inside. Every single morning at 5 a.m. sharp, the lights blast on and the grind starts all over again. He clocks into work like every other inmate, and every night he climbs back into that same bunk surrounded by strangers. The man who once ruled the music world now lives by a prison schedule, reduced to a number and a date that feels miles away. But here's the thing, the daily routine is only half the story. To really understand what life at Fort Dix feels like, you've got to hear it from someone who lived it right beside him. On December 23rd, just 2 days before Christmas, former NBA player Sebastian Telfair finally walked out of Fort Dix a free man. His kids were waiting outside, and the relief on his face said it all. But what everyone wanted to know wasn't just about his release, it was about his cellmate, the most famous inmate in the whole facility, Sean "Diddy" Combs. Hours after his release, Telfair sat down with TMZ for his first interview, and he didn't hold anything back. For Telfair, who once lit up NBA courts for a decade, the fall was brutal. From private jets and packed arenas to 5 a.m. wake-ups in cold concrete dorms. He admitted it straight. Prison life hit hard. But when he started talking about Diddy, that's when things got really interesting.
I couldn't imagine how Diddy felt.
Telfair painted the picture perfectly. From luxury penthouses to cold prison cells. From private jets to clunky prison buses. From bad boy records to federal custody. The contrast couldn't be more extreme. But even after that massive downfall, Telfair said Diddy hasn't completely broken down. Despite the shock, the loss, and the humiliation, he's holding himself together in a way most people wouldn't expect.
Judge Aaron said he wouldn't recommend Fort Dix, but he would recommend a Northeast facility. The only problem was, why did he get sent by Fort Dix? It's not because he did anything special. It's not because they took pity on him. It's because, right? Because he had a shorter sentence.
And that wasn't just talk. Telfair had seen it all with his own eyes. He was living right there in the same facility, walking the same cracked yards, eating the same bland meals, and following the same tight routine day after day. He watched Diddy up close, a man forced to survive in a world where fame means nothing and money can't buy a single ounce of comfort. What stood out to Telfair was how Diddy handled it. Calm under pressure, following every rule, keeping his head down, and showing real discipline when everything around him was designed to break him. Telfair also mentioned Fort Dix's RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, a treatment initiative that could actually shave time off Diddy's sentence if he completes it. He wasn't judging him, he was just keeping it real. Everyone had seen the lifestyle before, the wild parties, the excess, the chaos that became the heart of the prosecution's case. The drugs, the power plays, the control, the manipulation, it all come crashing down once those cell doors closed. Inside prison, that fast-paced life hit a full stop. No more luxury, no entourage, no endless parties, just cold walls and time to think. And maybe, Telfair suggested, that forced pause was exactly what Diddy needed, a hard reset on a life that had been spinning out of control for way too long.
This is what kills me about the prison system. They know. Because these people, if you're doing life in jail, you got life, man.
Prison became something deeper, a kind of forced reflection, a place where time slows down just enough to make you face yourself, think hard, and maybe even start to heal. It's not the kind of perspective people usually talk about when it comes to prison life, but coming from someone who just lived it, it actually makes sense.
I couldn't imagine how Diddy felt, but Diddy's holding it down. He's doing what he's got to do. Diddy was living a rock star life, so I'm glad he's going to get the time to just relax. Diddy's in good spirits. He's still Diddy.
That simple line, "Diddy's still Diddy," carried serious weight. Not because it excused anything he's done, but because it exposed something real about who a person is when everything's stripped away. Prison doesn't rewrite your identity, it tests it. It takes away the fame, the money, the image, all the flash, and what's left is the raw core of who you really are. Telfair said Diddy was still holding his own, in good spirits, not broken, not lost, and definitely not defeated. He wasn't walking around depressed or falling apart. Instead, he still had that same spark, that same confidence that once made him a mogul. The only difference now, though, he's rocking olive green prison clothes instead of tailored designer suits, but the attitude underneath hasn't changed one bit.
These first photos of Diddy at the Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institution in South Jersey surfaced on TMZ over the weekend. In one, Diddy is smiling in his gray knit cap, looking happy and relaxed.
This wasn't the version of Diddy anyone expected to see. Not the shattered mogul the tabloids tried to sell, but a man learning how to survive in a brand new world. He's adapting to a harsh routine, finding structure in the chaos, and rediscovering pieces of his own humanity in one of the most unexpected places imaginable. Telfair talked about meeting good people inside, not just Diddy, but men from every kind of background, each carrying their own stories and regrets. Some were first-timers, some long-timers, but all of them shared the same space, the same grind, and somehow built bonds that couldn't exist anywhere else. The contrast between their past lives and their current reality was shocking, yet strangely unifying. For Telfair, freedom came early, December 23rd instead of December 26th, a small but powerful Christmas miracle for his family waiting outside those gates. But for Diddy, things look different. He's expected to serve most, if not all, of his sentence. Different crimes, different outcomes, but the same daily life. The same plain food, the same crowded dorms, the same 5 a.m. wake-ups. Fort Dix isn't like MDC Brooklyn, where Diddy first started out. That was maximum security, cold and isolating, filled with danger and tension. Fort Dix, on the other hand, is minimum security, offering a bit more movement, better programs, and a focus on rehabilitation. It's the exact place Diddy's legal team fought for, chosen for its structure, its calmer environment, and its closeness to family for those rare visitation days.
A federal judge this afternoon has approved their appeal of the verdict to be heard as early as next spring. They want both charges dropped, claiming the law was mistakenly applied to his case.
The RDAP program that Telfair mentioned could be a total game changer for Diddy. In the federal system, completing a residential drug abuse program can actually cut up to 12 months off an inmate's sentence. And for someone looking at roughly 50 months behind bars, that's a massive difference. It's not just a rehab course, it's one of the few real ways to earn time back and show progress toward change. Telfair's own path to Fort Dix had its twist too. His return wasn't from a new crime, but from slipping up on the terms of his supervised release. After pleading guilty to healthcare fraud in 2023, he initially got probation, 3 years of supervised release, and community service. But when he missed check-ins and skipped out on his service hours, those small mistakes stacked up fast. By August 2024, the judge had enough and sent him back, 6 months at Fort Dix. His original release was supposed to be February 2025, but thanks to good behavior, he walked out early.
Were you aware that you were going to come home 2 days before Christmas?
No, I thought I was gonna come home 2 days after Christmas.
Okay.
And then, God always doing what he do for me, so.
That healthcare fraud case wasn't small, it was huge. 18 former NBA players got caught up in the same scheme, all accused of filing fake medical claims through the NBA's health and welfare plan. We're talking about billing for dental work that never happened and medical procedures that were completely made up. The total losses hit around $4 million, and it didn't take long for the feds to come knocking because federal investigators don't miss financial crimes on that scale. Indictments dropped in October 2021, and at first, Telfair tried to fight it, but eventually he had to face the truth. By 2023, he took a plea deal, one that at the time seemed surprisingly lenient, but when he slipped up and violated the terms later, that leniency disappeared instantly. Now, freshly released and looking ahead, Telfair's got something new to share, and people are paying attention.
You're going back to the NBA to do like some kind of work there. Have you had any offers from anyone in the NBA asking you to come back and do some kind of work there?
Well, I just signed with a new agent. How Kimberly, how you doing?
I know that's right.
So
you got a new agent.
I got a new agent. I'm gonna be playing in the Big Three.
The Big Three League, Ice Cube's bold 3-on-3 basketball venture, gave former NBA players like Telfair a second shot at glory. It was his chance to step back onto the court, show the world he still had it, and maybe even snag that MVP title. The league thrives on redemption stories, and Telfair's comeback fit the script perfectly. A man rebuilding his name after losing it all. Meanwhile, back inside Fort Dix, Diddy's story was still unfolding fast. His legal team wasn't letting up. They were fighting hard. On December 23rd, the exact same day Telfair walked free, Diddy's attorneys filed an emergency appeal against his 50-month sentence. The timing couldn't have been more symbolic. One man walking out, another still fighting for his shot at freedom.
Defendants typically get sentenced to less than 15 months for these offenses. Even when coercion, which the jury didn't find here, is involved, he sits in prison today serving a 50-month sentence because the district judge acted as a 13th juror.
Diddy's defense team came out swinging, arguing that his 50-month sentence was way too harsh. They pointed out that most Mann Act convictions usually lead to around 15 months or less, not more than 4 years behind bars. His lawyers claimed the judge overstepped big time, acting like a 13th juror by weighing evidence that went beyond what the jury actually decided. In the appeal, they didn't hold back, calling the whole thing a perversion of justice. But when legal analysts weighed in, most weren't convinced. They said the argument sounded desperate and unlikely to sway the higher court.
Alicia, always great to be on with you. Let's be very frank about this case. You can't unsee what you saw, you can't unhear what you heard, and you can't unremember what you read. And it's clear that that judge took certain things in consideration that were part of the evidence, and it is permitted under the Mann Act.
The defense switched tactics and tried a totally different angle, claiming that the recorded encounters were nothing criminal at all, but actually amateur content between consenting adults, supposedly protected by the First Amendment. They argued it was about expression, not exploitation. But that line of reasoning didn't land well, not with prosecutors, not with analysts, and definitely not with the public. Most agreed the argument stretched credibility so far it practically snapped.
This departure from what should have been imposed on Sean Combs, they're also arguing, which is a real stretch, that these freak-offs and these hotel encounters were really amateur-free. It's going to be a real stretch to get to overturn that sentencing, especially when you look at the guidelines on itself under the Mann Act. It's between 70 and 80 months. The judge gave 50 months here. So this type of these arguments, frankly, if I looked at my crystal ball, it's going to fail.
In reality, the federal sentencing guidelines for Mann Act violations fall between 70 and 80 months, meaning Diddy actually got off lighter than most. His 50-month sentence was already below the standard range, so while his team cried unfair, the truth painted a different picture. The judge wasn't being harsh at all. In fact, many legal experts said the judge showed restraint, not overreach, when handing down that sentence.
His defense team really feels that there is a problem with the Mann Act. You can certainly lobby against that act and have it rendered unconstitutional, but it's historically sound, it's constitutional, nothing's been overturned.
The odds of that appeal going anywhere? Almost zero. Legal insiders say the Mann Act has stood strong for decades and remains fully constitutional. Every step in Diddy's case, from the charges to the sentencing, followed proper legal procedure, all by the book. So despite the noise from his defense team, the chances of overturning that decision look slim to none.
That's him, that's Diddy, and they chatted it up for a second. He said Diddy's holding it down, he's doing what he gotta do, and where he's at, they're going to help him. He clarified that Diddy had previously been living a rock star life.
Telfair's public support for Diddy might not mean much in a legal sense, but on a human level, it hits deep. He reminded people to see Diddy not as the headlines of the scandal, but as a person, stripped of titles, fame, and power, because prison does exactly that. It tears away everything external, the money, the luxury, the name, until all that's left is who you really are. According to someone who's been right there beside him, Diddy's managing to do exactly that. Then came a major development. November 2025, Sean Diddy Combs officially enrolled in a program that could truly change everything. Not just his release date, but maybe even his life. It's called the Residential Drug Abuse Treatment Program at Fort Dix, a 9 to 12-month deep dive into therapy and self-reflection. It's intense cognitive behavioral treatment built around a community that forces inmates to confront their demons head on, the same ones that landed them there in the first place.
Fort Dix is a minimum security facility. He's not in general population, but in a special housing area for inmates in drug treatment programs.
The incentives are massive, too big to ignore. If you complete the RDAP program, you can earn up to a full year off your sentence. For Diddy, that means he could be walking out by May 2027 instead of May 2028. 12 extra months of freedom on the outside. That's not just a reward, it's a lifeline. But here's what most people don't realize. RDAP isn't some easy check-the-box kind of deal. It's the Bureau of Prisons' toughest, most demanding treatment program, built around a modified therapeutic community approach. Inmates go through daily therapy circles, constant group discussions, written self-reflections, and accountability drills that push you to face yourself completely. You can't fake your way through it, not so long. His publicist confirmed Diddy's enrollment with carefully chosen words, keeping it professional and tight-lipped.
Committed to sobriety, focused on healing.
The PR team might have been working overtime to make Diddy's enrollment sound clean and polished, but documents obtained by CBS News told a totally different story. They revealed how he actually qualified for the RDAP program during trial, and it wasn't luck. Diddy's attorney, Taney Garagas, made a crucial admission. She confirmed documented substance abuse issues within 12 months before his arrest. That single statement opened the door wide for RDAP eligibility. Without that detail, there would be no entry into the program. And without the program, there'd be no shot at a sentence reduction. Looking back, the legal strategy makes perfect sense, but getting qualified doesn't automatically mean you're in. Thousands of inmates across the federal system are stuck waiting for a slot. You need at least 24 months left on your sentence to even apply, and every candidate gets thoroughly vetted by drug abuse program coordinators who comb through records, verify substance history, and check every piece of documentation before giving approval. Then comes the hard part, the wait. Joe Giudice, who's been through Fort Dix himself, didn't sugarcoat it when he spoke about that list. He said straight up that Diddy didn't just stroll into the program like it was handed to him. Plenty of people have been waiting their turn, but somehow between his celebrity name and some sharp legal maneuvering, the path cleared faster than it usually does.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed, so he's probably, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come into play. But right now, he's got to get ready.
From the very start, Diddy's lawyers had one specific request: Fort Dix. They included it directly in their sentencing recommendations, hoping to secure that exact placement. Judge Subramanian initially pushed back, making it clear that defendants don't get to pick their own prison. Normally, the Bureau of Prisons decides where inmates go, not the court. But somehow, Diddy still landed exactly where his team wanted him. The plan worked, and their strategy paid off big time. Once inside, the RDAP program unfolds in 3 tough, structured phases. Phase 1 kicks off in a dedicated residential unit, fully separated from the general population. It's all about immersion, daily group therapy sessions, one-on-one counseling, cognitive behavioral training, and relapse prevention exercises. It's intense, mentally draining, and completely hands-on. By the end of Phase 1, you earn a certificate of completion, but don't get it twisted, that's only the beginning. Phase 2 transitions inmates back toward the larger prison environment while keeping therapy at the core. You start mixing more with the general population, slowly reintegrating, while still following every single rule to the letter. There's zero room for mistakes. One infraction, one failed drug test, one bad report, and you're out. All that work, gone. Even with a certificate in hand, it means nothing unless you complete all 3 phases successfully. Prison consultant Christopher Zukis explained it clearly. The time reduction RDAP offers is huge for federal inmates. A full year off a 50-month sentence is no small thing. That's real time, real freedom, and a massive incentive. But the catch? The program's brutal, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Only the truly committed make it through.
I think 3 factors that sort of work together to create a perfect storm. The first is chronic understaffing. So the jail is routinely operating daily.
Inside Fort Dix, the RDAP program runs deep. It's not just therapy, it's emotional excavation. Every day, inmates sit in group circles where vulnerability isn't optional. You gotta open up, sharing personal stories, exposing your flaws, admitting to addictions, and facing the root causes of your choices without dodging blame. There's no hiding behind fame, money, or a polished image, and definitely no PR team to step in and smooth things over. The therapeutic community model strips away every wall a person builds around themselves. RDAP participants live together in a separate housing unit, forming a tight, structured environment focused on recovery and accountability. Everyone supports one another while also holding each other responsible. No free passes, no shortcuts. The schedule runs like clockwork. Half the day in therapy, half the day on work duty. Diddy's been assigned to the chapel library, balancing his daily counseling sessions with his prison job. The structure is designed to keep hands busy and minds sharp. No room for idleness, no time to spiral. But here's where Diddy's story starts to get messy. Just 4 days after arriving at Fort Dix on November 3rd, he got flagged for violating prison phone rules. According to official records, he made a 3-way call, which is strictly banned under Bureau of Prisons policy. The report claims he called an unidentified woman to discuss bringing 200 singles for a visiting weekend, then allegedly looped in another person, described only as a digital contact, to talk about blogs. Prison officials didn't take it lightly. They hit him with 90 days without phone access and 90 days without commissary privileges. The penalty was filed on his 56th birthday, making the timing sting even more. His publicist tried to spin it, insisting the call was actually a routine attorney-client communication, initiated by his lawyer and fully protected. But according to the disciplinary report, Diddy claimed he never received the official prison handbook that outlines phone rules, an excuse the Bureau didn't buy. Then things escalated. TMZ dropped another bombshell, reporting that Diddy got caught drinking homemade alcohol, prison hooch or pruno, made from fermented fruit. That's another major violation in federal custody. His team immediately denied the claims, jumping onto his X account, formerly Twitter, to post about becoming the best version of himself, clearly trying to get ahead of the headlines. The damage control machine was running full speed. Former warden Dwayne Hendricks didn't hold back when speaking on the situation. He said if Diddy really wants to succeed in RDAP and earn that sentence reduction, he'll have to prove he can handle prison life the right way. That means showing solid institutional adjustment, keeping a clean record, following every order, and proving real dedication to the process. Without that, RDAP won't just be tough, it'll be out of reach.
4 years, 5 years is 5 years, 4 years and 2 months rather. Right, because there is 14 months time served. So you're looking at about maybe 3 years.
Getting accepted into RDAP is one thing. Finishing it is another story entirely. The program demands flawless conduct, full cooperation, and a spotless record. Inmates have to follow every staff direction without argument or hesitation. But Diddy's already tripped up twice since his enrollment, and that's raising eyebrows. Within just weeks, those slip-ups of people questioning whether he's truly committed to change or just playing the system to shave time off his sentence. Then came Judge Mathis, who didn't hold back his thoughts on the whole situation. He said the defense completely missed a major point during sentencing: Diddy's mental health. Mathis reminded everyone that Diddy himself admitted to being bipolar, which means he needs more than just talk therapy. He needs real treatment, medication, and consistent professional supervision. The judge argued that this kind of mandatory chemical stabilization should have been part of the sentencing from day one, not left up to choice or convenience.
And as such, the sentence should have also included it. The judge should have required him to obtain treatment as part of his sentence.
Judge Mathis's take shines a light on what many believe is the true purpose of programs like RDAP, real rehabilitation, not just punishment. It's designed to dig deep, forcing inmates to confront addiction at the root, not just the symptoms. Through cognitive behavioral therapy, participants learn new ways to think, react, and cope with stress. Relapse prevention training gives them the tools to face life outside without falling back into old habits. And life skills development helps them rebuild structure and responsibility so they can function as productive citizens again. But here's where the debate heats up. People are skeptical about Diddy's sincerity. Can someone really change after decades of the same behavior? After years of using money, fame, and influence to dodge accountability? Is this finally genuine growth, or just another calculated move to cut time off his sentence? Maybe, just maybe, both can be true at once.
Do you accept responsibility for the violation of the law? And he has not said it.
Specifically said it out of the gate.
Yes.
I don't want to let God down. I have no one to blame but myself. I know I will never put my hands on another person again.
The therapeutic community model behind RDAP doesn't let anyone hide. It forces participants to face hard truths, including the ones they'd rather ignore. Living day to day with others who've completely hit rock bottom strips away all pretense. Peer accountability runs deep. If someone starts acting fake or manipulative, the other inmates call it out immediately. The vulnerability required to stay in the program is intense, and that's exactly why so many don't make it to the end. They can't handle the emotional honesty it demands. There's also a long list of ways to get kicked out: getting caught with contraband, breaking any prison rule, failing a drug test, skipping therapy sessions, or even slacking off during group work. One disciplinary report can undo months of progress. The bar is intentionally set high. RDAP isn't supposed to be some easy shortcut to early release. It's meant to rebuild your mindset completely, forcing you to look at addiction, behavior, and consequences through a new lens. Right now, Diddy's already walking a tightrope. His earlier phone call violation alone shows a lack of respect for the rules, according to sources familiar with the case. And the alleged alcohol incident, if it's proven true, could deal a serious blow to his eligibility. Prison officials are watching every move he makes now. One more slip, and his shot at RDAP and that one-year sentence reduction could disappear in an instant.
A history of good works can't wash away the record in this case. You abused these women. You used that abuse to get your way, freak-offs and hotel nights. The evidence of the abuse is massive. I was sitting right here during the testimony.
Even once Diddy finishes his sentence, the system doesn't just let go. RDAP's post-release supervision extends its reach far beyond the prison walls. He's facing 5 years of supervised release, complete with mandatory check-ins with probation officers, random drug testing that could go on indefinitely, and strict travel limits. He can't leave his jurisdiction without official approval. The monitoring doesn't stop at the prison gates. It just changes form. So what would successful completion of RDAP actually look like? It means finishing all 3 phases of the program, earning that 1-year reduction, staying sober through every single day of incarceration, and avoiding any new violations. But beyond the checklist, it's about real personal transformation, genuine reflection, mental growth, and learning how to live differently. If he manages that, Diddy could walk out by May 2027 instead of May 2028, a full year early, free to reunite with his family and start rebuilding his life. But the flip side is brutal. If he gets kicked out of RDAP, loses eligibility, or racks up more violations, he'll serve the entire 50 months with no early release in sight. That means the May 2028 date stays locked in. No exceptions, no favors. The stakes couldn't be higher. Every move he makes, every choice, every reaction behind those walls now determines how and when he gets his second chance.
He arrived at Fort Dix Prison in New Jersey last week, and tonight we're getting a look at him interacting with other inmates.
All right, Fox 5's Lisa Evers joins us now with the very latest and interesting image we got to see today.
The debate rages on. Is Diddy's push for RDAP pure rehabilitation or smart strategy? Cynics say every move he's making is calculated, just another play for a lighter sentence. But believers see something different. A man genuinely trying to change, maybe for the first time in decades. And maybe, just maybe, both sides have a point. The hope of shaving a year off might be what got him through the door. But once inside, the process itself could spark real change. Sometimes survival and transformation walk the same line, and Diddy's journey might be proof of that.
They made me sit in the cell and take every braid out of my hair before I was let into population.
I mean, for somebody like who's a billionaire beforehand, somebody like Diddy, it must be.
Fort Dix's therapeutic community doesn't care who you are or what name you built. It tears down every excuse, every rationalization, every wall you've spent years hiding behind. Inside those daily therapy circles, vulnerability isn't optional, it's demanded. No amount of money can buy your way out of facing yourself. Group counseling forces raw honesty, and peer accountability keeps everyone in check. The other inmates, they're not impressed by fame or status. They see straight through the celebrity mask. In that room, Diddy's not a mogul. He's just another man confronting his truth.
The judge did say earlier you have not expressed remorse for the Mann Act violations.
He's now showing that remorse.
Well, he's also, no. You got to address that directly.
The transporting of
the
the
prostitutes. You got to say, I should never
Yeah.
have done what I did by hiring.
And if Diddy actually makes it through, sober, self-aware, and truly changed, then RDAP will once again prove its real power. Not because Diddy deserves redemption more than anyone else, but because when people commit to the process, it works. The program's purpose isn't about fame, sympathy, or second chances for the rich. It's about transformation. Addiction treatment saves lives, cuts down on relapse, and gives people the tools to rebuild instead of repeat their mistakes. True rehabilitation doesn't just help the individual, it helps society as a whole, far more than locking someone away ever could.
So where are we now? You know, we're looking at 50 months, which is less than what the prosecution wanted, which is less than what the sentencing guidelines were. So the judge even came in below that. And so if in light of everything that he was facing from the very beginning, even to now, it's really a good deal for him.
The residential drug abuse treatment program isn't Diddy's get-out-of-jail-free card. It's his last real shot at rewriting his story. This is his chance to become more than just another cautionary tale, to show that even the most powerful, privileged, and protected can hit rock bottom, face their demons head-on, and start clawing their way back toward the light. May 2027 or May 2028, that's the line between redemption and regret. Transformation or manipulation, hope or cynicism. Every single day inside Fort Dix's RDAP unit pushes him closer to one of those outcomes, and the clock is ticking fast. What happens next is entirely up to him. If you've been following this story, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on Diddy's road to redemption. And don't miss the next Street Signal video coming soon.
So it would not be rare or odd to see a Diddy, a Jay-Z, an Eve, this or that, Lil Kim. They would be out there for that. I saw him in Vegas at a party where Jay-Z was there, Diddy was there, my friend Kathy White, that y'all keep trying to tie me into her death. It is not true.
Whoever came up with the phrase, when it rains, it pours, must have been talking about Jay-Z, because wow, stuff just keeps surfacing about him lately. People online are losing it after some wild claims popped up about the mysterious Kathy White case, and it looks like Claudia Jordan might be right in the middle of it. Allegedly, folks are saying Jay-Z paid Claudia to cover up what really went down with Kathy, which explains why Claudia once said the accusations against them ain't true. Now this is where things get even messier. Rumor has it that Claudia might be asking for more money, or else she's planning to expose everything. The talk on the block is that she's been getting serious threats because of what she knows, and there was supposedly an incident that got brushed off publicly as just a drunken mistake. But allegedly, that's all about to blow up, because word is Claudia is ready to start talking for real. And get this, some folks online are even saying that Kim Porter knew something about this whole situation, and that she allegedly wrote about it before she passed. If that's true, we might finally see this Kathy White mystery cracked wide open. Things are about to get crazy. Now back to Claudia. When she was getting bombarded with messages telling her to tell the truth about what really happened to Kathy, she actually responded. She claimed that she and Jay-Z just happened to bump into each other randomly, and that the story linking her and him came from a reporter trying to ruin her name. According to Claudia, that reporter had been paid off by her ex. Yeah, her ex. What a tangled mess this whole thing is. Claudia straight up said she didn't even know Kathy like that. She claimed their connection was being blown way out of proportion. When someone asked where all these wild rumors even started, Claudia clapped back saying that plenty of pretty women get invited to sit at celebrity tables or hang in VIP sections just for the vibes, not for anything shady. According to her, that's a well-known fact in the industry, but somehow people twisted it into something way bigger. She even said, "I never saw them talking at Tao," and called the rumor that Kathy was pregnant by Jay-Z completely bananas. Then Claudia dropped another surprise. She claimed that Kathy was actually with her boyfriend Malcolm when she passed away. But here's the thing, nobody seems to know who this Malcolm guy even is, and he's never come forward to clear up or deny a single thing. Still, even with Claudia saying she wasn't that close to Kathy, the old pictures of them together tell a whole other story. People who were around back then swear the two were definitely tighter than Claudia's letting on. People believe Claudia downplayed her connection with Kathy because of how mysterious Kathy's death was, rumored to have been orchestrated by Jay-Z himself. The whole situation sounds like something straight out of a movie. Kathy passed away the same year Beyonce got pregnant with Blue Ivy, and it happened not long after Kathy did an interview talking about her supposed relationship with Jay-Z. Allegedly, Jay had been seeing Kathy behind Beyonce's back for years, even before he and B tied the knot.
So it would not be rare or odd to see a Diddy, a Jay-Z, an Eve, this or that, Little Kim. They would be out there for that. We randomly ran into him. Now, the second time we saw him, he was definitely out there and he had a show. Okay, he had a concert. And he was not paying my friend no mind. Like, we were all there and he was just like polite. And he was not flirting with no one. There was nothing going on. So I need y'all to stop with this false narrative. A blogger, Jackie Jasper of Hollywood Street King, put this story out in 2008 because he was fed it from my hating ass ex that was trying to ruin my reputation. So he's taking any little things. Oh, she was doing this, it was doing. She's jealous that he hit on her and not her. It's not true, y'all. And y'all running with one source, and then Jaguar gets on and reiterate, brings back up, and y'all believe it. Now, I'm not saying that she don't say some real stuff. I don't know her like that. But when it comes to me, I was never Diddy's girl. And if you had an address, I would serve you. But you don't, okay? If you had an address, I would serve you. Can't serve the homeless. I saw him in Vegas at a party.
In addition, Claudia also responded to someone who questioned where the whole narrative came from by saying,
"What made it even messier was that Kathy was reportedly close friends with Claudia Jordan, who already had a reputation for getting mixed up in other people's relationships. Word is, just like Claudia, Kathy was very open about her dating standards. She apparently only messed with wealthy men, saying she didn't even look twice at a guy unless his net worth was at least $50 million. That kind of talk had people convinced Jay-Z was the perfect match for her lifestyle. Things hit a whole new level of chaos when Kathy and Claudia were spotted at Las Vegas's famous TAO nightclub in 2010, chilling at the same table as Jay-Z and Diddy. And guess what? Beyonce was nowhere in sight. They were in time for the Floyd Mayweather versus Juan Manuel Marquez fight, and sources claimed that before the big night, Jay bought Kathy a pair of Louis Vuitton heels worth $2,500 just for the event. It didn't stop there. Allegedly, Jay-Z told Kathy to bring some of her girlfriends along so it wouldn't look like anything was going on between them. Then, during their Vegas stay, Jay reportedly took Claudia gambling at the Bellagio Casino too, and once again he insisted she invite a few friends to the table to make everything seem innocent. The whole setup sounded like a carefully planned cover-up to hide what was really going down. Then, out of nowhere, Kathy was gone. People were shocked when news broke that she had passed, and what really made it eerie was the timing. Just 2 weeks before her death, a major tabloid had reached out to her while digging into the rumors about her alleged connection with Jay-Z. She didn't give him much at first, but according to sources, right after that call, Kathy supposedly contacted Jay and told him she was ready to go public with their affair, if the price was right. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The reporter who reached out to Kathy was none other than Liz Crokin, a senior editor at Star magazine at the time. Liz later said her boss told her to investigate some online chatter about a woman named Kathy, or Kari as her friends called her, allegedly having an affair with Jay-Z. Liz explained that she managed to track Kathy down at a job in New York and spoke to her over the phone. During that first call, Kathy completely denied everything. She said she wasn't seeing Jay-Z, hadn't hung out with him, and didn't even know him personally. But Liz didn't stop there. She later uncovered actual photos of Kathy hanging out with Jay-Z and Diddy at Teao nightclub in Las Vegas, the same night people had been gossiping about. When Liz called her back with the evidence, Kathy couldn't keep up the denial anymore. Liz said Kathy might be willing to go public with the story. She just needed to think about how to handle it. Then, suddenly, everything took a dark turn. Just about 48 hours after the huge announcement that Beyoncé was pregnant with Jay-Z's baby, Kathy was found dead under suspicious circumstances. The official cause of death was listed as a brain aneurysm, but many people weren't buying it. The timing was too close, too strange, and way too convenient. Something about the whole situation just didn't sit right. According to Liz, things got really strange right after that. She said a few days later she tried to reach Kathy at a job, but no one was answering her calls. Eventually, Liz managed to get in touch with one of her co-workers, and what she heard left her completely stunned. The colleague told her that Kathy was gone. Liz couldn't believe it.
I saw him in Vegas at a party where Jay-Z was there, Diddy was there, my friend Kathy White, that y'all keep trying to tie me into her death. It is not true. She was not having an affair with Jay-Z. She never told me she was messing with him. Matter of fact, when she died, she had a boyfriend. His name was Malcolm, and she died with him. I need y'all to stop this rumor that she was pregnant by Jay-Z. She never told me that. I never seen her pregnant. I seen her drinking. We went to Magic Mountain, Six Flags together, and was on the rides. These are not things that people that are pregnant by superstars do. No. They try to protect that fetus. Okay? So I need y'all to stop, and people keep saying this, and it pisses me off. I'm sure it doesn't make her family feel good to constantly see this being brought up, that she was this mistress. She never told me. I met her in Memorial Day weekend in 2008, okay? I went to Vegas with my friend Nikki Chu, so go ask her, okay? I've been not saying her name. She introduced me to her. We stayed in the same hotel room because back then.
Liz said sources told her that before Kathy's death, she had already told Jay-Z she was thinking about going public with her story through Star magazine. There were even online blogs buzzing about the same thing at the time. Liz ended up publishing a short article about it in Star, but she later revealed that she wanted to dig deeper, to actually investigate what really happened to Kathy. But here's the wild part. She was discouraged from pursuing it any further. According to Liz, her boss didn't want to run a follow-up or touch the story again. That raised eyebrows because Liz had never seen a lead this big just get shut down like that. She said she always felt there was more to the story, and years later, she still believes Kathy didn't just pass from natural causes. In her words, she believes Kathy was unalived by none other than Jay-Z himself. And honestly, a lot of people agreed with her. Nobody really believed Kathy just passed from natural causes. There were even whispers that insiders who personally knew Jay-Z and Kathy claimed her death wasn't random at all. According to those close to the situation, Jay-Z allegedly had her silenced before she could speak out. The streets still talk about it like it's one of the music industry's darkest secrets. One source even dropped a bombshell on Liz, claiming that Jay-Z had serious pull with law enforcement and even some coroners in his pocket. The insider said there were allegedly corrupt coroners in New York City who take cash to mark a homicide as a natural death. That right there set off major alarm bells. It gets even crazier. An NYPD detective who was reportedly on the case said Kathy's official cause of death was uncertain at first. According to the detective, they actually performed both an autopsy and toxicology test to figure out what really went down. The details the detective shared were chilling. They said, at the time, a 911 call came from an apartment on 130 West 19th Street in Manhattan. The ambulance came and took Kathy because she was sick. They took her to Beth Israel Hospital, and that's where she died. It was too early to be speculating an aneurysm. They'll be doing an autopsy later today to check her cause of death, but someone might have given Kathy a bad drug. They'll do a toxicology test, and we'll have to wait 2 weeks for that report. But here's the twist. That toxicology report never saw the light of day. It just vanished, like it never existed. It's as if someone made sure no one would ever see what was in it. In the end, the death was ruled an aneurysm, and that was that. Case closed. The whole thing was swept under the rug before anyone could ask more questions. Now the word on the street is, only one person might still have the real answers, and that's Claudia Jordan. There was even a blind item posted on Crazy Days and Nights, the gossip site famous for exposing Hollywood secrets, and it practically screamed Claudia's name. It read, "This A-list host and model, who's also done some acting, has always kept quiet about her friend's mysterious death. But over the years, she's become more convinced that the permanent A-plus list rapper was responsible for what happened to her friend."
What do you mean she's dead? You know, what happened to her? This was just a beautiful, young, seemingly healthy 28-year-old woman. I was told that she didn't have any health issues, you know, and it was very shocking to hear. And her colleague did not know what happened to her or how she died or why she died, but all she knew is that she was dead. So obviously when I heard this, it was very troublesome and disturbing to find out that this woman who possibly was going to give me an exclusive story on her affair with one of the most powerful rappers in the world, that's very disturbing, and it certainly is very convenient for Jay-Z, isn't it, that she died.
Everyone immediately thought of Claudia. She fits that exact description, an A-list host, model, and actress who used to be close to Kathy. People are now convinced that Claudia's silence might not be loyalty, it might be fear. Because if she really knows something, then she's sitting on one of the biggest secrets the industry's ever seen. It all just felt way too convenient, like someone wanted Kathy gone. And then, right after those suspicions started floating around, she ended up dead. When the blind item finally came out, it confirmed what everyone had already guessed. The A-list host was Claudia Jordan, the rapper was Jay-Z, and the friend was Kathy White. That revelation sent social media into a frenzy. When the whole thing blew up, people couldn't help but notice how often Claudia popped up in interviews defending Jay-Z and trying to shut down the rumors. It looked suspicious. Many started saying that Jay-Z might have been paying her to keep his name clean and to keep quiet about what really went down. The timing and consistency of her interviews just didn't add up. Then came another shocking rumor. People claimed Claudia was actually seen at Kathy's apartment cleaning up after the 911 call was made. That rumor made everyone side-eye her even harder. And when old photos resurfaced of Claudia and Diddy looking a little too comfortable together, folks started connecting the dots. To them, it all lined up. The connections, the timing, the silence. People began saying Claudia had flat out lied about everything from day one. But now, the whispers have changed. The word on the street is that Claudia might finally be ready to talk, for real this time. Allegedly, she's willing to reveal what Kathy's missing autopsy report actually said, the one that mysteriously vanished and never saw daylight again. No one knows if it's because she wants more money from Jay-Z or if she's just tired of holding it in, but something's definitely brewing. And remember, this isn't just about Claudia. Rumor has it that Kim Porter also knew the truth about this situation. If that's true, then this story runs way deeper than anyone thought. Now here's where things start heating up even more. Word on the street is that Claudia's been acting real different lately, like she's carrying a secret too heavy to hold any longer. Insiders are whispering that she's been dropping hints during private conversations, saying she can't keep protecting people who don't protect her. That alone got folks thinking she's finally ready to spill everything.
We all went to Magic Mountain together, and I hate that this girl who was such a beautiful girl is getting dragged. I met her I think it was like May when I went to Vegas, a mutual friend. We all hung out, and then we hung out that summer like a few months, and then some blogs started writing stories about her and him and me, and she just distanced herself from everybody and just was like, I'm not doing this, and took her away on social media. And then we didn't talk, and I was like, what? I go, I don't talk to blogs. I hate the whole keeping, like tipping people off on the stuff. Like, I'm not into that. But I understood she was a very private person. And then, so we hung out for maybe 3 or 4 months. So when I say we weren't best friends, I wasn't trying to distance myself. I'm just trying to put it in context. We weren't besties. We were just getting to know each other. And about 2 weeks before she passed, I got a call from her out of nowhere. She's like, Claudia, who's that blogger that was saying all that stuff about us? I told her, I was like, yeah, he stay on my neck a lot. And she's like, yeah. And I think she's wanted to call and kind of squash it. I said, hey, I have nothing to lose right now, not for nothing.
Allegedly, Claudia's been talking about putting out her own tell-all project, something that would expose what really went down with Kathy White and clear up years of hidden drama. Some say she's already met with a producer to discuss a documentary deal, but that's not all. Rumors are flying that Jay-Z's team is panicking behind the scenes, trying to shut it all down before it even gets started. There's even talk that Claudia's been receiving mysterious messages and calls, warning her to stay quiet or else. People close to her claim she's been scared for her safety lately, and honestly, can you blame her? Every time someone gets close to revealing too much about that situation, something strange always happens. And get this, someone online recently leaked what they claimed was part of an old text exchange between Claudia and Kathy, dated just weeks before Kathy's death. In it, Kathy supposedly wrote, "They think I'm scared, but I'm done hiding." If that message is real, it changes everything. It's also been said that a few people in the industry are starting to come forward quietly, saying that Claudia wasn't the only one who knew what happened. A former promoter and a club insider from Vegas allegedly confirmed that Jay-Z, Diddy, and both women were all together that weekend, and that the vibe was tense. Whatever's about to come out next, one thing's for sure, Claudia's silence might finally be breaking. If she really decides to talk, this could shake the industry to its core and reopen one of the most mysterious stories hip-hop has ever tried to bury. And just when people thought the story couldn't get any deeper, boom, new whispers started spreading like wildfire. Allegedly, someone close to Claudia has already spilled that she's been keeping a hidden file, a backup of everything she knows about Kathy, Jay-Z, and what really happened the night Kathy died. Supposedly, that file includes screenshots, photos, and even private recordings that could flip this whole story upside down. Insiders claim Claudia's been holding on to it as her insurance, just in case anyone tried to silence her for good. Some even say she's told friends that if anything ever happens to her, that file will be released automatically. That's a bold move, but in a story this twisted, it makes total sense. Now people are saying Jay-Z's legal team is fully aware of this file and are doing everything they can to keep it locked away. Rumor has it they've been reaching out to platforms, blogs, and even gossip sites, warning them not to publish anything without proof. But here's the catch. Some of that so-called proof might already be out there, hidden in plain sight. And get this, Another source claimed that someone who worked on that original Star magazine article with Liz Crocken came forward recently and said there were missing pages from the story draft that never made it to print. Pages that allegedly contained details from Kathy's co-workers who mentioned she'd been terrified in her final days. That detail alone reignited the fire all over again. Meanwhile, fans online are buzzing non-stop. Some are demanding justice for Kathy, while others believe this could finally expose one of the biggest cover-ups in music history. There's even talk that Claudia's next public move could involve a live interview, one where she tells it all, without filters of fear.
So it would not be rare or odd to see a Diddy, a Jay-Z, an Eve, this or that, Lil Kim. They would be out there for that. We randomly ran into him. Now, the second time we saw him, he was definitely out there and he had a show. Okay, he had a concert. And he was not paying my friend no mind. Like, we were all there and he was just like polite. And he was not flirting with no one. There was nothing going on. So I need y'all to stop with this false narrative. A blogger, Jackie Jasper of Hollywood Street King, put this story out in 2008 because he was fed it from my hating-ass ex that was trying to ruin my reputation. So he was taking any little things. Oh, she was doing this. He was doing. She's jealous that he hit on her and not her. It's not true, y'all. And y'all running with one source, and then Jaguar gets on and brings back up, and y'all believe it. Now, I'm not saying that she don't say some real stuff. I don't know her like that. But when it comes to me, I was never Diddy's girl. And if you had an address, I would serve you. But you don't, okay? If you had an address, I would serve you. Can't serve the homeless. I saw him in Vegas at a party.
In addition, Claudia also responded to someone who questioned where the whole narrative came from by saying,
"If that happens, it won't just be gossip anymore, it'll be the moment everyone's been waiting for. And once those secrets hit daylight, there's no going back. The truth might finally break loose, and when it does, it could shake the whole industry from top to bottom." Now here's where everything comes full circle, and it's about to get real. After years of whispers, deleted posts, and people staying silent, the truth looks like it's finally about to crack wide open. Claudia's rumored tell-all might not just expose Jay-Z, it could unravel a whole chain of secrets that's been buried for over a decade. People are saying she's already recorded a sit-down interview that digs deep into what she saw, what she heard, and what really happened after that 911 call. Insiders say the interview touches on everything, from Kathy's mysterious death and that missing toxicology report to the people who were supposedly paid off to keep quiet. And apparently, there's more than one celebrity name involved. Claudia might have been protecting herself all this time, but now it sounds like she's done playing nice. Allegedly, she's been hinting that she's got nothing left to lose. What's really wild is that this isn't just about gossip anymore. It's about truth, power, and the way fame can twist everything behind the scenes. Some fans believe Claudia's getting ready to clear her conscience, while others think she's just trying to cash in on the chaos. But no matter how you see it, the tension's rising fast. People on social media are already speculating about what the hidden files might contain. Could there be photos, text, or voice recordings that prove everything the blogs have been saying for years? And if those files do exist, will she dare to drop them publicly, or will someone step in before that happens? The internet's on fire with theories. And just when everyone thought the case was ice cold, more names keep popping up. Industry insiders, old associates, even people who used to party with Jay-Z and Diddy back in the day. Some of them are supposedly ready to talk too. If all these voices start speaking out at once, it could turn into a storm that nobody can control. This story isn't just about one tragedy. It's about what happens when secrets, fame, and power collide. After all these years, the truth still refuses to stay buried. So now the big question is, will Claudia finally expose it all, or will the pressure silence her again before she gets the chance? Either way, one thing's certain, the world's watching. So tell me, what do you think? Do you believe Claudia is ready to tell the truth, or is this all just another distraction? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story's far from over.
Nothing over the phone. Alright, I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. You know what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure
I got a call from one of Diddy's people.
Okay, just to set up.
Yeah. And I didn't say who it was.
Right.
You know, and I just said he wanted to talk to me.
Okay.
And if this person wanted to talk to me,
right,
you know, so it had to be for Diddy because I never with him.
I could have just kept my mouth closed.
Period.
I didn't have to tell Miss Wallace nothing.
Dang.
I didn't have to say nothing to nobody. That's what people don't understand. I chose to. You understand? They want to make up the stories they want to make up. And that's what you get this internet. You got a lot of people making up stuff. But then when the stuff come true, they look stupid. They don't say nothing. They quiet as...
The people in power had gave that reign to Diddy, and Jay was next in line.
A recently leaked phone call from Diddy has completely set the internet on fire. People everywhere are talking, reposting clips, and trying to decode what's really going on. That's right, Diddy, the hip-hop legend and business powerhouse, is currently sitting behind bars. But what's really shocking everyone is how he's been communicating with his son. Reports say that these calls aren't your average check-in moments. It sounds like Diddy's been using a slick, undercover way of passing messages through the prison phone system. Now, these jail calls are supposed to be monitored, right? But somehow the conversation that leaked seems way too polished, way too calculated, almost like Diddy knew it would reach the public. Some fans believe he's speaking in code, while others think he's trying to send a message to certain people outside the jail walls. And when you listen closely, there are little pauses and word choices that just don't sound random at all. Something about this call feels like it's carrying a hidden meaning, and the internet detectives are losing their minds trying to crack it.
Diddy's private island, shipping container island right across the way. Diddy's island with all of his friends, just a short drive away from a very huge island platform full of shipping containers, and you have to go right next to the Coast Guard. We all know what's been sealed and talked about. What are the odds that this man lives on this island just a short walk away from this entire platform of shipping containers? Come on, what do Diddy and shipping containers have in common? Did anybody else know this? This right here kind of blows my mind, because if I was some star, the last place I'd go put my island is anywhere close to anything like that. So why in the world are these two so close to each other? And what do these and this have in common? And the fact that you have to go right past the U.S. Coast Guard? That's pretty crazy. But hey, Diddy's island that just got raided is a short boat ride away from a whole bunch of shipping containers. Do you see that?
Some people are writing that boxes sound like cages. You know, we have somebody talking about how Star Island is right next to a shipping unit and a very short drive from an international airport. And that's where Diddy lives. There's apparently a huge shipping place right near Diddy's home in Miami. And it's also been confirmed that Diddy's mansion did have underground tunnels, and some actually say that they connected to the Playboy mansion near.
But don't stress, we're here to break it all down piece by piece. Gene Deal, who used to be Diddy's bodyguard and has already shared some serious insider info before, is back again with another major revelation. Gene's been dropping hints that Diddy might be using his son as a messenger, passing coded messages to his inner circle without the authorities catching on. So what exactly did the call sound like, and how did Gene even find out about it? Let's dive into this leaked conversation and uncover what Gene claims is really happening behind those prison walls. In this leaked phone call, Diddy supposedly drops a cryptic line that's got everyone talking: "Get rid of all the pizza boxes." What? That strange phrase instantly lit up social media, and fans have been running wild with theories ever since. The wording sounds way too innocent to be innocent, and the way he said it, calm, direct, and serious, like it carried a deeper message only his son would understand. People can't stop asking what those pizza boxes might really stand for, and it's sending the internet into detective mode. But what's got everyone even more suspicious is the fact that Diddy's massive Miami mansion just happens to be located near a major shipping port, a place that sees containers, trucks, and deliveries moving in and out all day long. That detail alone has fans speculating that maybe pizza boxes wasn't about food at all. Some say it could be code for something being stored or hidden, while others think Diddy was warning his son to clean up evidence before the feds could show up again. The possibilities are endless, and every fan theory seems crazier than the last.
Okay, make sure you you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah.
It's obvious Diddy knew he was going in, and he had all this already set up on the outside for his son. And plastic could mean CDs. If he had some, videos on CDs or videos on flash drives, they're made of plastic. Even hard drives, a lot of them are made of plastic. So that could be what he's referencing. It could be a memory card. SD cards are made of plastic. So all that kind of lines up with what he's trying to say, which is get rid of the...
The scary part is that in certain circles, ordering pizza doesn't mean food. It's a way to describe arranging under-the-table deliveries of not-of-age workers as if they're menu items.
Is just as simple as ordering pizza. You could order as fast as 15 minutes. There's ads on social media and even gaming platforms that look exactly like this. You could select what age, height, and other really disturbing factors.
But it doesn't stop there. Diddy then adds another strange line, telling his son to get rid of the plastic, and that right there sent the internet into a total meltdown. What plastic is he talking about? Could he be referring to something physical, or maybe something symbolic, like cutting ties with certain people? Fans are going wild trying to decode it all, connecting dots and rewatching the leaked audio over and over for clues. Whatever Diddy meant, one thing's for sure, he definitely knew this call would get people talking.
I would wonder if he's white or black. And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, there's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith. He's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black that are black actors or black in the business that's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy? That's black. That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you got to realize he ran with that black that Rat Pack. And I don't want to even say their names, but they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner? What's the other guy? Leonardo? Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shopped. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So there's quite a few tapes that might be out there.
Gene gives rare insight into his mindset, revealing that he's not backing down, just handling things his way. He says that what's happening behind the scenes isn't for everyone to know, but insists that his mission for truth hasn't changed one bit. Fans may be divided about his behavior, but one thing's clear. Gene's still in the fight, and he's not letting outside noise throw him off track. As the buzz around Diddy and Gene keeps growing louder, it's clear this story is far from over. Every day, new clips, new insider tips, and new theories are popping up, turning this entire saga into one of the most talked about scandals in entertainment right now.
You believe the guy in the tape is white?
If he's bigger than Diddy, and he's not none of the names that I said, probably so. But then they say he was young too.
Yeah, they say he was young.
Let me get his name right. I hope it ain't the Bieber. I hope it's not the Bieber.
That's a good one. It might be him. But if they saying that the guy is young and he's an A-lister, I can't think of that many black people, man.
Right. Not at all. And somebody that's more powerful, more of a celebrity than Diddy. You understand what I'm saying? If they were saying somebody that was more celebrity than Diddy, he was an A-lister, he was younger. You know what I'm saying? And if he's not black, it would have to be the Bieber. That's his name, Bieber? They said I got that wrong too. Justin Bieber, allegedly. I don't know, bro.
Right. But when you heard the news that Diddy, he had a cheat with another man, did that catch you by surprise or no?
Well, all this is by surprise to me. A lot of this is by surprise to me, to be totally honest, man. Because I knew Puff, I knew Puff Daddy, I knew Diddy before he was Love and Brother Love and back to Diddy. So, no, but the diddler, he's the diddler now. A lot of it's surprising, but it's not unheard of. Because you hear of all kinds of and whether it registered with you or you internalize it or something like that, that's a whole nother story. But a lot of this stuff it's crazy. But this is the world that we live in now, man. That these individuals thinks is all right.
From the leaked phone calls and coded messages to Gene's emotional interviews and strange behavior, people can't stop connecting the dots, and it feels like we're only scratching the surface. Gene's latest comments have fans divided. Some see him as a truth teller risking everything to expose what's really been happening behind the curtain, while others think he might be playing a bigger game of his own. Either way, the tension between him and Diddy is impossible to ignore. Every move, every post, every word is being analyzed, and the mystery just keeps deepening. Could there be more recordings waiting to drop? Could Diddy's connections reach further than anyone expected? The internet is locked in, and no one wants to miss what happens next.
I would say this, it's kind of funny to me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough where he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s. And one day, Asner, Kushner, Diddy, and myself went to a Nets game and we met Jay-Z. I've never been a Jay-Z fan, you know, like some of his music, the whole 9 yards. But when we went over to the, I think that was Prudential Center in Newark, and him and Puff met up, it was strange to me. Because I remember what Puff was trying to do. And then both of them, they was talking about something amongst each other, amongst all of us, and laughing and joking with each other. Then over the years, I see them giving garden parties. You understand what I'm saying? You could tell that the people in power had gave that ring to Diddy, and Jay was next in line. So to separate him, when in fact they may be two of the same, but because Jay-Z is low-key, that low-key sneaky shit, and Diddy is, and was rambunctious, just out with it, it don't mean that they're not two of the same. One just a little quiet with it.
What makes this all even crazier is how unpredictable it's become. One day it's about secret codes, the next it's rumors of A-list ties and Netflix deals. Everyone's trying to figure out what's real and what's just smoke, and with Gene refusing to stay silent, things could get even messier before the truth finally comes out. So now we've got to ask, what do you think is really going on? Is Gene truly exposing Diddy's hidden world, or is there another layer we're not seeing yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see who's connecting the dots and who's just along for the chaos, because this story, it's not slowing down anytime soon.
So now, I said this title, Jay-Z and Diddy, are they two and the same? Diddy was number one. Jay was number two. Diddy was supposed to be the one that keep us in the dark. Puff was supposed to be that one who kept us in the dark. Then he have the musical talent of Jay-Z to back him up. That's why you seen them doing those events together. Having Robert Kraft sitting on the couch hugged up with him. Jay taking on a new identity with his hair. Dressing like his stylist. They got the same colors, the same thing on. What men you know do that? What grown-ass men you know dress like that? What they dress, have the same colors and the same they have on with they stylist, they man, whoever the mother.
Gene Deal has been spilling insider details about Diddy for a long time, and he's not holding back now. For years, Gene's been one of the few people brave enough to speak openly about what really went on behind closed doors, and his latest claims are shaking things up again. According to Gene, Diddy himself once tried to reach out, not for a friendly chat, but to silence him. Gene says that Diddy wanted him to stop talking, to stop exposing the truth that's been making headlines and stirring controversy all over social media. But Gene isn't the type to fold under pressure. He's made it crystal clear that no amount of fame, money, or intimidation will make him back down. In his words, standing by the truth matters more than anything, and that's exactly what he's doing. Fans online have been praising him for refusing to stay quiet, calling him fearless for going up against someone as powerful as Diddy. Others, though, are warning that speaking out could come with serious consequences, especially when you're challenging a figure with that much influence. In the upcoming clip, Gene opens up about this tense exchange, revealing how Diddy supposedly tried to smooth things over before the situation exploded even further. He describes how that moment made him realize just how deep things might really go. And the way he tells it, you can feel the emotion, the tension, and the weight of everything he's been holding back.
Yo, check this out. I need you to reach out to the producer. Let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie.
Alright, Bob. It's crazy right now. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, but I could definitely tell that saying the Netflix movie is definitely associated with a freak-off videotape. That's pretty easy to put together. I don't know who this producer person is. That might be the one who's holding the tapes, maybe? I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, but he's not really spelling it out. And actually, there was a lawyer going on news stations telling everybody that multiple tapes are being chopped out. So this could be before that happened. And maybe that's his way of like keeping people silent by just letting people know that the tapes are out there, ready to be dropped.
Gene's message is loud and clear. He's not backing down, and he's ready to tell the world exactly what went down behind the scenes. Lately, people online have started whispering that something about Gene Deal just feels off. Fans who followed his updates for months are now questioning whether he's been acting differently, especially after that recent interview where his whole vibe seemed out of character. During the sit-down, Gene looked tense, distracted, and even a little paranoid, and that's all it took for the internet to explode with speculation. Clips from the interview started circulating across social media, with viewers analyzing every pause, every expression, and every strange comment. Some say Gene looked like a man carrying way too much weight on his shoulders, while others think someone might be trying to get to him behind the scenes. The energy he gave off didn't match the confident, outspoken Gene fans were used to, and that sudden shift has everyone wondering what's really going on. Is he just under stress from all the attention, or is something deeper happening that he can't talk about yet? Whatever it is, people can't stop debating it. The conversation around Gene's behavior has only grown louder, leaving everyone on edge and eager to find out if this change is just exhaustion or a sign that something big is about to come to light.
Well, considering that the is selling his own God evidence that would put him in jail against him on the dark net to the highest bidder. Why would he sell evidence of his debauchery and savagery? Why would he sell on the dark net his tapes of just terrible? Wanna know why? Because he doesn't intend to stand trial.
Is he protecting people, or are people protecting him?
Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
How come you think it doesn't get leaked to the public?
The dark net?
Yeah, like...
Because of the dark coin. Most people don't even know that the dark coin exists. But that's how they're trading for all of the flesh they sell. Which is why I became so outraged last year when the twins turned 16 and he had them dressed like prostitutes, and then he auctioned them off as NFTs because the NFT that he sold them to was attached to that dark coin. It was like a promissory note to sell his daughters to the highest bidder.
Fans and followers can't stop speculating about what might be influencing Gene lately. After that strange interview, theories have been popping up everywhere. Some people think he's being pressured, while others believe he's just mentally drained from all the drama surrounding Diddy's situation. The internet is buzzing non-stop, trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. Everyone wants to know, is Gene acting different because he's scared, or is he just tired of being in the spotlight? In the interview, Gene finally addresses the growing rumors head-on. He opens up about the pressure he's been feeling and how it's taken a toll on him. He explains that people don't really understand how heavy it is to constantly be questioned and criticized, especially when you're speaking out about something powerful and controversial. His tone is raw, emotional, and filled with frustration, but also determination.
I actually received the New York Post article from the person who contacted me to sell the tape. They sent me that article. I was not shocked by what I read in the article. I was hoping that even the client that I contacted would reach out and see and kind of alert that person that this was going on and to possibly help them. The person who has the tape really doesn't want to shop it around. They really want to help and give it to wanted to directly sell it to that person, but it seems as if they are going elsewhere.
You know, we know that you've seen the footage. You talked about that last week when you were with us. So, you know, as you know who it is, and I know that you can't tell us who it is for all the reasons, right? But as you know who it is, and as we're moving through this story, and it's starting to really feel like it's unraveling, and you feel bad for the person, and we don't even know who it is there anything more you can tell us about that part of it?
I really do feel bad about the person. Part of the reason that I did come and say something outside of just to protect my own safety, but I wanted to sound the alarm, essentially ring the dog whistle, if you will, to that person that maybe they should do something about this before it came out. Mm-hmm. If I was them, I would do something about this, and the only way to do anything is to do the catch and kill. That's the only way to ensure that it doesn't come out, you know, we're taught that God helps those who helps themselves. So if we have a situation where that person does have the opportunity to purchase the video, if I were them, I would absolutely purchase the video.
Wow. Well, do you think this is going to surface publicly? I mean, are we getting close to that moment?
From what I'm hearing, I think so. I'm hearing whispers that there is at least one major network, possibly two, in a bidding war for that footage. So I believe we're sooner rather than later maybe finding out, unless that person comes and purchases the video themselves, which is really the goal of the people who have the video. They just, at this point, if that person doesn't want to purchase it, then it's going to go on the open market.
Some fans are convinced that Diddy's strange words are actually code for something big, something secret, maybe even valuable. Theories are flying left and right, and no one seems to agree on just one story. Gene Deal, who's been dropping one bombshell after another, has hinted that this phone call isn't as simple as it sounds. He's been suggesting that there's way more going on behind the scenes, and that Diddy might be using coded language to talk about things most people wouldn't even imagine. His latest claims have sent fans into a total frenzy, sparking endless late-night discussions and wild online debates. Now here's where it gets even more intense. Gene also mentioned that an A-lister was brought up in the leaked recording, and some people believe that star could be Justin Bieber. That one detail alone has turned social media upside down. Fans are digging through old interviews, old photos, and even past rumors, trying to connect the dots between Diddy and Bieber. Could there really be a hidden connection between them in all of this? Or is it just another internet stretch gone too far? The mystery just keeps growing, and everyone wants answers. Then, near the end of the call, Diddy suddenly asks his son, has Jay reached out yet? That one question has people completely losing it. Who's Jay? Is he talking about Jay-Z? Could it be someone else close to the family? Every word seems to have a deeper layer, and fans are dissecting it all like it's part of a movie script. Whatever Diddy's trying to say, one thing's clear: this conversation isn't random, and Gene's hints are making it even more suspicious. Diddy and Jay-Z have a long, tangled history that goes way back. Both of them exploded into fame around the same time, two powerhouses climbing the hip-hop ladder side by side, each building their empires while keeping a watchful eye on the other. Over the years, rumors have constantly swirled about their early run-ins, secret deals, and behind-the-scenes tension. People have always wondered what really went down between these two industry giants. Were they allies, rivals, or something in between?
Try to get somebody to reach out to you?
No, I got a phone call from Kirk Burrows. And Kirk Burrows, and I ain't gonna get this guy no play. Not Kirk Burrows, but one of the Puff dudes that I know that's real close to him said, Kirk told me, he want to reach out to you, Gene. He want to speak to you. I said, speak to me for what? What do you want to speak to me for? If he's trying to speak to me, it's for Puff. Point blank. I know the dude. I know how close he is to Puff. He's been with Puff from day one. So he ain't got nothing to say to me, bro. But Kirk Burrows did say to me that the dude said enough is enough. When do it becomes enough? Yo, because, bro, listen, I didn't ask to be put in this situation. You understand? And a lot of people ain't going to understand this, because a lot of people wouldn't give up what I've given up to be in this situation. You understand? My whole thing about it is, when you lean on right, you ain't gonna never turn to wrong. And my whole thing about it is that Puff wasn't right what he did to people around us, man. He wasn't right what he did to people around us. Him being hard-headed, not listening, and not telling the truth and constantly lying, cost a lot of people their lives, man. It cost a lot of people their lives.
According to Gene Deal, though, things weren't as friendly as many fans thought. Gene claims that back in the early days, Diddy and Jay-Z weren't exactly hanging out like brothers. Their connection was more cautious, more business-minded. He suggests that both men were sizing each other up, testing the waters, and protecting their own turf in an industry where power meant everything. That revelation alone had fans digging through old photos, interviews, and award show moments to spot signs of tension between the two legends. But here's where it gets even stranger. During that leaked call, Diddy supposedly tells his son to reach out to the producer and make sure everyone knows the release date for their upcoming Netflix project. Wait, what Netflix project? That single line threw social media into chaos. People are now wondering if this mysterious release is connected to Diddy's past, or if it's part of a bigger plan that's still unfolding while he's behind bars. Could this be a warning, a distraction, or maybe a coded message about something dropping soon? Whatever it means, it's keeping everyone glued to their screens, desperate to figure out what Diddy and Jay-Z might be planning next.
About this lawyer named Tony Busby. He's saying that he got over 120 victims.
I believe it when I see it in the court documents. I believe it when I see it, on court television. I believe it. I believe it, bruh, because I don't believe it. I don't believe not 120 people, bruh. They just opening the floodgates. This shit is crazy, bruh. 120 people. I don't believe it, man. First and foremost, they would have to do a lot of interviews and interrogations on these people. Talk with them when, where, why, how. Do you ever think he ever gonna have a hearing? Is he ever gonna go to court? You know how long it would take to interview 120 people on a essay case? That's a lot of interviewing, bro. That's not happening. There's no way in this earth that that they say 120 people was victimized by this dude. It's no way. I don't believe it. They probably don't believe it. I think they just opened the floodgates or something like that. How did they get 120 people to come forward this quick?
He didn't really go into detail like that. He just said that it was 120 people, including minors. But he did say one of the minors gave Diddy fellatio.
Oh my God. Oh man, listen here. And he trying to get bail? He trying to come home? Nah. If any of that is halfway true, bruh, I don't know what the hell to think. All I know is that there's no way in hell that they got 120 some people ready to come to court and sue them. Listen, what they gonna do? A class action lawsuit? They're gonna put them all together in one bundle and sue him, his companies, everything? Because they can't sue them individually. Because if you sue him, I don't think there's enough money to sue 120 people to sue him individually. So it's crazy that I just don't believe, bro. And that's hard to fathom. 120 people that came forward outside the 50 people that was last week, or that's with?
Nah, this is one lawyer with 120 people.
So that's 170 people all together, bro. It's no way. It can't be that much assault in the world. It's no way. What was that? Who was one of the maskers of all time? He outdid Jack the Ripper. He outdid Jack the Ripper, man. The Boston Strangler. He just don't have no bodies that we know about. That's crazy, man. I don't believe that, Mighty. I really don't. I don't think that you can legitimately get 120 people to say that Sean John Combs molested them. I don't believe that.
So you don't believe it, you personally? Because I mean, Diddy, he has been throwing parties since the 90s.
But you talking about somebody saying that he assaulted them. What do they consider the assault? They had to go there and see and speak with the people and interview them and see if, they may consider some of that being consensual. They may think some of the people don't have a case. What if somebody say he touched my butt? He pat me on my butt. That could have been an accident. He brushed up against me. We don't know what these people are saying. On this one, bruh, I'm giving Puff the benefit of the doubt.
I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. And I have given all the proofs of who was involved with Diddy. I have presented the videotape of Diddy's parties as evidence. Now no one can save Diddy and the other celebs. Jay-Z, after watching the rest of the documentary, you'll understand everything.
Today's not looking good for Sean Combs. Netflix just dropped a bomb, what 50 Cent calls the next chapter of The Reckoning. No countdown, no warning, no flashy trailer. It just landed out of nowhere. And when something hits that quiet, people don't lean back, they lean in. That kind of silence usually means folks already knew what was coming. This ain't no sequel made to entertain, it's a continuation built to shake things up. The first series felt like a pause, not an ending. Now the follow-up lands right when everyone thought the storm had passed. That's no accident, that's timing. The first doc hit when headlines were wild. This one lands after things cooled down, just when people stop paying attention. And that's exactly why it hits harder. 50 Cent isn't calling this a takedown, he's calling it context. Footage that didn't fit before, conversations never meant to resurface, visuals that line up faces and places people never realized overlapped. Nothing's shouted, nothing's labeled, and that's what messes with people's heads. When the story doesn't tell you how to feel, you start feeling it. Before we go deeper, like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because this one's moving quick, and the next twist won't come with a warning. What stands out here is restraint. It's not a mash of accusations, it's proximity. Who was there? When? How often? That's where the unease kicks in. Jay-Z's name doesn't pop up as a headline, it shows up through association. Same spaces, same moments, lined up side by side like nobody ever did before. That's why some say nothing new, while others can't unsee the patterns. This release doesn't beg for verdicts, it just kills the distance. It reminds you time never solved anything. And when you realize this ain't about one man, but about silence protecting whole systems, everything feels heavier. Once that sinks in, the story doesn't have to blow up, it just has to exist. What makes it strong is the patience, the slow pacing, the quiet moments that hold just long enough for you to catch what usually gets cut. The awkward pauses, the drifting eyes, the way clarity slips right when it's close. This isn't about a single clip changing everything. It's about how nothing ever changed because no one ever finished the conversation. The same rooms, the same circles, questions left hanging. Open questions don't fade, they stick, especially when the same names keep returning year after year. None of this pretends to be new evidence, it's remembered evidence, stuff people once brushed off, but distance collapsed and memory got sharp. Suddenly, nostalgia feels like investigation. This chapter doesn't accuse, it observes. It lets the repetition talk. The same faces, the same silences, the same moments where the industry chose time over truth. The power's not in the shock, it's in alignment. When you see the same patterns touch, you can't unsee it. Silence doesn't feel neutral anymore, it feels strategic. That's why reactions split. Some see old clips, others feel a shift. This isn't proof, it's pressure. pressure that builds when unfinished stories stop being left unfinished. It doesn't need to explode, it just needs to stay. What's really changing here is responsibility. Who kept showing up when things got unclear? Who disappeared when clarity would have taken more than a polished statement? The doc doesn't push accusations, it pulls context back in. It makes you realize how much stayed unresolved. The entertainment world runs on fragments, a headline without the follow-up, an interview that promised more later, a clip that cut off too soon. None of it looks suspicious alone, but stack it together and it feels intentional. Not because someone planned chaos, because nobody ever felt pressure to finish the story. Reputation carried the load, image replaced truth, and that's where the focus flips from people to systems. Systems that reward silence over clarity. Systems that know outrage fades fast. The doc doesn't say it, it shows it. The same calm, the same half answers, the same confidence that explaining isn't required, because it never was. What's wild is how normal it all looks. No panic, no mess, just distance. Distance once looked like professionalism. Now it feels like insulation. And that's the new tension. Not who's guilty, but who keeps quiet. Viewers aren't told to take sides, they're told to watch. Who stays real when things get uncomfortable? Who hides behind time? These patterns don't scream guilt, they expose priorities. Silence wasn't a gap, it was a strategy.
You've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed.
From this still no indictment.
Bro, then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media.
50, how'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you're a journalist, Harvey. Harvey, you would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah.
What he said.
I wish we were able to have Diddy be in the doc. So he could have said some things that, make people understand why people are saying these things about him.
The outreach went to his team and they gave denials, but he didn't want to participate.
Yeah. They'll say we had beef for 20 years, but I have hired both of his sons for different projects that I worked on, both two different television shows. I don't know why he didn't file bankruptcy. Like, it would have indicated to the sharks that even if you see blood in the water, there's not that much blood. It is going to exhaust them. The legal process will exhaust them.
It was a method, a way to let time pass without closure. Trusting memory would fade faster than curiosity. But memory didn't fade, it stacked. And once stacks grow high, coincidences stop feeling random. Power didn't hide truth, it controlled interpretation. Now even old clips feel heavier, not because they prove something new, but because they won't disappear. The shift's not louder, it's deeper. The story stopped being about what's new, it's about what returns. Old interviews feel unfinished. The same answers repeat while questions evolve. And when answers don't evolve, they sound rehearsed. The pattern isn't fear, it's discipline. Discipline that knows when not to talk, when to let reputation do the work. For years that worked. A clip here, a headline there, never the full picture. But now people are lining it all up. When moments sit side by side, tone matters more than words. Just enough openness to look honest, never enough to be recorded. Silence doesn't feel like restraint, it feels designed. A system built to keep stories open so they never end. Because endings bring accountability. Open stories bring comfort. And this time, people aren't chasing shock, they're tracking behavior. Who stays when things get tough? Who fades? Who explains? Who delays? That quiet watching is more powerful than outrage. It doesn't burn out, it builds. And when it builds, silence turns into evidence. By now, silence is part of the story itself. The same faces reappear in the same half-explained places. Familiar scenes now sit uncomfortably close. When proximity replaces distance, interpretation flips. You start seeing how many chances there were for clarity, but every time, distraction won. A new headline, a new project, movement instead of closure. Movement became the illusion of progress. People thought forward motion meant healing, but it didn't. This chapter forces us to face that truth. How often stories were redirected instead of resolved. How often legacy filled in the blanks. Legacy strong, it reassures instead of argues, and reassurance worked because people weren't looking closely, but now they are. Folks aren't demanding conclusions, they're tracking consistency. Does today's tone match yesterday's? The silence always hit the same pressure points. These aren't accusations, they're measurements, and when you measure things, the illusion breaks. Nothing here feels random, it feels intentional. Every pause, every delay, every calm answer feels timed. Silence isn't hiding everything, it's skipping the parts that matter most. Once you see that pattern, it explains itself. Now people aren't waiting for reveals, they're studying absences. The missing answers, the dodged follow-ups, they pile up until absence itself becomes presence. It starts to feel like maybe some things were never meant to end in public. That realization doesn't spark anger, it sparks focus. The real tension now isn't from what's shown, it's from what's held back. Not hidden, but withheld. The footage exists, the faces are there, the timeline's clear, yet the closure never comes. What's missing is the connective tissue, the thread that would turn all the fragments into one full picture, and that absence speaks louder than any new evidence. People stop watching and start comparing. They remember old responses and match them to new ones. The same calm voice, the same move forward tone, the same refusal to unpack things fully. That's not proof, that's habit, and habit has power. It doesn't react, it repeats. From the outside, repetition looks like avoidance, not fear, confidence. The kind that says, we never had to explain before, so why now? And the scary part, it worked. Not because people were fooled, but because they were trained. Trained to see silence as professionalism, distance as maturity, to think if something mattered, someone else would have said it. But that logic crumbles under focus, and now focus is all anyone's got. People aren't angry, they're attentive. They're logging every delay, every postponed answer. They see time being used as cover, not cure. Silence used to depend on forgetting, but forgetting's not happening this time. Now the pressure's quiet, but constant. No shouting, no forced conclusions, just steady awareness. And that awareness changes the game.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January.
Oh, that's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like we need to party.
I like when you like this, Daddy. Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping. When you scrambling and scraping. Talking about for your birthday.
Huh?
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
What is he talking about? People say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of it. No, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Everything's measured. Calm words, slow pace, no denials, just enough acknowledgement to appear transparent, never enough to explain. That discipline doesn't come from chaos, it comes from experience. But time's not fixing things anymore. The audience isn't scrolling, they're sitting down, watching again, comparing notes, noticing the same behaviors repeating, the same pauses, the same deflections. Repetition used to mean control, now it means exposure. Tension doesn't explode, it deepens, because nothing new has to happen for the pressure to rise. Closure was never the goal, control was. Control over timing, focus, and the illusion of finality. What's wild is realizing how silence used to be seen as strength. Distance looked like maturity. Unfinished stories felt complete just because people stopped asking. That only works when people move on, but they didn't this time. Now every quiet moment adds weight. Every delay gets noticed. Mental tracking has replaced outrage, and that's dangerous for systems built on patience. Curiosity didn't fade this time, it stabilized. Now the story feeds on consistency. Every repeated move becomes data. Every skipped explanation becomes part of the case. Silence itself has become the message. Once people recognize that, it stops protecting anything, it defines it. From here, nothing needs to be said. The audience already knows how to listen. Curiosity has turned into recognition. Recognition of structure, how stories were delayed, softened, and spaced out so they'd never collide. But once they do, patterns form, and patterns don't argue, they just wait to be noticed. The archive already exists. Old clips, old statements, old smiles that once seemed harmless now feel incomplete. Unfinished moments carry weight. Silence no longer reads as restraint, it reads as choice. Repeated choices form habit, and habit shows design. People aren't yelling questions, they're asking steady ones. Unanswered questions don't vanish, they mature. They become checkpoints that shape how every new moment is received. That's why timing matters more than words now. People notice when answers come fast for one thing, but slow for another. They notice when clarity is convenient and when it disappears. No emotion, just analysis. And the weirdest part? Everything still looks calm. No panic, no mess, just the same control as before. But distance only works when people stop measuring it, and this crowd isn't stopping. The story doesn't need new twists, it's set. These stories don't vanish, they turn into pressure that hums in the background, never screaming, but never leaving. Now silence isn't emptiness, it's content. Every pause is part of the record, every non-response says something. The power flipped, the audience runs the memory now. Memory doesn't reset, it waits. The question isn't what's next, it's what happens when nothing comes. Because silence stretched this long feels deliberate. That deliberate silence changes how every old moment is read. People aren't chasing shock, they're hunting consistency. Comparing when words were said and who stayed silent. The same pauses hit the same spots every time. That's not coincidence, that's pattern. This isn't accusation, it's alignment. Old interviews sound cautious in the same places. Old answers feel rehearsed around the same topics. What once looked harmless now looks unfinished by design. And that incompleteness is powerful. It lets people assume it was handled privately, lets stories fade without closure. But that trick doesn't work anymore. Time stopped cleaning things up because the audience stopped forgetting. Now everything's side by side. No more decades between context. The gaps glow under the light. They don't accuse individuals, they expose the process. How attention was redirected, how questions were delayed until they felt unnecessary. That's why this feels heavy without being loud. The weight comes from accumulation, from seeing the same move work again and again without question. Silence used to mean control, now it reads as calculation. And calculation brings scrutiny, the kind that doesn't fade. From now on, every public move gets filtered through this lens. Every statement measured against what wasn't said before. Every pause compared to older ones. Once those comparisons start, they don't stop. This isn't about endings anymore, it's about permanence. Once people notice how the story's been shaped, they can't unsee it. The narrative doesn't collapse, it freezes. And frozen narratives don't vanish, they wait. So if you're following this saga, stay sharp. Hit like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment, because this story is not slowing down. The next Street Signal video is about to hit, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.
Hand out my pocket, man. Get your hand out my pocket. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing on the channel. Get your hand out my pocket, man. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I see, yo, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. Nah, look at me, man. I see what you're doing, man. Yeah, you gonna make me. Okay,
So let me ask you, when you hear that Cassie was told to hire male escorts to come in what they call freak-offs now.
Yeah.
Is that something normal that happens in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Freak-offs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody know that. I've been saying it. Yeah.
A jail warden just dropped a bombshell that's shaking everyone up. Jaguar Wright has been screaming about Diddy's health for years, and now it looks like she wasn't lying after all. This new revelation might be the missing piece that finally ties all the rumors and whispers together. It's no secret that Diddy's health has been spiraling ever since he landed behind bars, but what's really going on sounds darker than anyone expected. People first thought he was just struggling with the wild shift from luxury to lockdown life, especially after all those wild freak-off stories started surfacing. But insiders are now hinting that the truth goes way deeper and way worse. Some claim his condition isn't just physical, there's something happening behind those prison walls that nobody wants to talk about. A warden from the private facility in Fort Dix, where Diddy was recently moved, allegedly spilled some serious tea, and it's wild. Reports claim that Diddy's battling multiple severe STDs, not one, not two, not even three. The situation sounds out of control, and people can't believe how far it's gone. But here's the shocking part, that's not even the worst of it. Sources say the infections have started spreading through the jail, and it's causing chaos among the inmates. Apparently, Diddy hasn't slowed down his so-called freak-offs even behind bars. If anyone thought confinement would make him chill, they couldn't be more wrong. Word is, the limited space actually made it easier for him to keep up his freak-offs, just in a whole different setting. Before his arrest, Diddy was sitting on a billion-dollar empire with the money, the power, and the influence to move mountains. And according to insiders, none of that stopped once the cell doors shut. In fact, it's rumored that his status in prison has only grown stronger, with his name carrying heavy weight among the inmates. Some even say his notorious freak-offs have evolved into something that's turned the entire prison scene upside down. But let's rewind for a second, back when Diddy was still living large, sitting on that golden throne among the elite. He wasn't just a celebrity, he was the billionaire music mogul, rubbing shoulders with the upper crust of the industry. But here's the twist, this medical situation didn't pop up after his arrest. Nope, word on the street is that Diddy's been carrying this burden for years, maybe even since his days with Cassie, and some whispered it goes all the way back to Kim Porter. After Cassie dropped that explosive lawsuit in November 2023, everything started to unravel. Within weeks, more people began stepping out with their own shocking stories about their encounters with Diddy, the emotional scars, the mental breakdowns, and the health problems that followed. One of them, Jonathan D., revealed that right after being involved with Cassie and Diddy, he ended up contracting a lifelong virus that changed everything for him. Then there's Gina